Welcome to Hatch Street Studios in the near north end of New Bedford. Today we are here for the annual Open Studios, and we'll meet lots of artists who have their studios here and work here at Hatch Street. I'm your host, Margot Saulnier. Welcome to New Bedford Creative, where we go behind the scenes and see and meet the people that make New Bedford creative. We are here in Corinne Giselle's studio, a ceramic artist here at Hatch Street Studios and the president of the Hatch Street Artist Association. Corinne, thank you so much for having us today.
Welcome to my studio. The Artist Association comes with a lot of things going on. One of them is Open Studio that we hold twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring, and right now we're having Fall Open Studio, which we also double as a holiday sale, which is so exciting. And a little crazy because we've got music happening, we have bake sale happening, we have all artists open, we've got a whole bunch of vendors, always looking for vendors, but it's good.
So for anyone who's not familiar with Hatch Street, can you describe where is this located, how many artists are here?
Sure, so Hatch Street is located in the north end of New Bedford in an old mill building district. And right now we've got about 65 different artists that work in this building on a regular basis, and they work in a series of mediums between me as a ceramic artist, but we also have many painters and sculptors and printmakers and digital design artists and paperwork people. It's just there's so much happening all at once.
Goes on and on.
Yes.
So pretty much any kind of artistic medium you're going to find here at Hatch Street.
Exactly.
So you're a ceramic artist.
Yes.
I love your work.
Oh,
Can
thank
you
you.
talk a little bit about how you've developed into this really beautiful design?
Yeah, so my background in ceramics started actually when I was very young. I started in high school, early high school, so I was 14. And I started just exploring ceramic medium, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to college for it. Went to UMass Dartmouth, went to the CVPA campus and all. And while I was there, I really got the opportunity to develop my style, where I was pushed by my studio mate, Jim Lawton, to start playing with a more organic edge, because a lot of my influence comes from the ocean and the ridges that are created in the sand as the tide ebbs and flows.
I can totally see the organic shapes here are these vases?
Yes, yeah.
And they have different colors on the inside. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So a lot of that actually relates to my minimalist aesthetic, and a lot of that is actually derived from the fact that I grew up in a household of 6. I have 3 sisters and a lot of chaos. And for me, my work is kind of an escape from the regular chaos of life, and to be able to pause and not have something kind of nutty to look at. Just having a moment of peace is where I like my work to stand. I glaze the interior to, one, make it food safe, so that you can eat and drink and put all your water for your flowers in there. And it also gives it that sweet pop of color.
What are the smaller ones here?
These are pinch pots, and I actually am working on putting up an installation on the front wall of my studio, and these pinch pots are going to be for the taking. And the premise of it is that there's so much art in this world that is not affordable in necessarily our community. They're called my Pinch Pot Project, and they're going to be on the front wall of my studio. And I really hope that it works and people take them and bring joy or pay it forward in some way, bring it to somebody else, give them as stocking stuffers, I don't know.
You're handing peace and calm to someone else.
And that's kind of a goal, and once they're sanded, they're like a worry stone to hold on to, too.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Corinne. This has been amazing.
Thank you, Margot. Oh, this is fun.
Lynn Carlson. It
Hi.
is fabulous to be here with you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you too.
Yeah, so you are an artist, and we're going to talk about that, but you also do the graphic design for all of the materials for Hat
Right.
Street.
That was really fun. I've been a designer, art director for a few decades, and when the opportunity came up to actually talk visually about what we do here, I was really excited. There's such a nice energy here at Hatch, and basically what I wanted to do was talk about that in the materials. So it's all about creativity rather than focusing on objects or paintings, but it's really talking about the spirit of the place.
It's not just a building. There are these amazing, talented artists
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I'm here every day, and I go by all these doors that are closed, and people are behind those doors, busy, 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 and I never really get to see what they're doing. So this kind of open house is amazing. I'm absolutely in awe of the talent in this building. It just blows me away every time I walk by an open door. So all of the people here are really an inspiration and do incredible quality work, really gorgeous stuff. So.
Well, one of the artists who does gorgeous work is you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I would love for you to talk a little bit about your paintings.
Sure.
And how you have a very interesting story to tell
yeah,
about how it comes together.
Yeah, well, I think you're talking about my synesthesia, which I've always been a little shy about talking about because it's something that's hard, I think, for people to get their head around. But there are quite a few people that are born with it, and I think most children have it. And what it is it's the crossing of the senses. So for me, when I look at some colors, not everyone, but at some colors, I will smell things, or I will taste things, or I will hear things. So very often that's how one of my paintings will begin, is I'll see a few colors that come together, usually 2 or 3, and I'll start to hear a sound. And so I'll kind of riff off of that and build off of that. Whatever that sound is, I bring other shapes and colors to the painting that create a fuller experience for me, either with taste or sound or smell. There's a series that I do that are blue, and I started painting them when a really dear friend was going through the dying process. She was dying. And I kept hearing this cello sound when I would see 2 particular colors together. It was like an indigo and a brilliant cobalt. And I just started to paint with those colors, and it was so comforting. It had this very odd combination of deep sorrow, but peace at the same time. So that was a series that I did, and they are named after a German word called Sehnsucht, which means a place that I've never been, but I have a longing for. One of the paintings I did was about the smell of a newborn baby. When I held my first granddaughter, my youngest grandchild, in my arms, that smell that you get, only from a newborn baby, it's so intoxicating. It goes to your brain, and it just makes you feel so happy. And when I came home, I knew that that was a really special scent, and I started to see colors associated with that. So I did a series called Bernadette's Laundry, and it's abstract paintings based on that smell. So yeah, this is Bernadette's Laundry. I don't really do a why these colors come together. I just kind of obey them, I guess. And but what's interesting is this is a color that I'm not necessarily extremely fond of, but when I put it with other things, it made sense, and these smells just kept coming and coming with these delicate combinations. I use a paint that's made in the south of France called Charvin, and I love it. It's ground poppy seed oil. So, and the colors have a light inside of them, and I think that, this is obvious with this. You can it has a beautiful inner glow to it, these colors.
I love it.
And
I love all of your paintings. For
Thank
me,
you.
It's like sunshine.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sunshine and light.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
It's really nice to talk to you.
You too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Diana Arvanites, thank you so much for having us today. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. I just am fascinated by your jewelry creations, and could you share with everyone some of these examples that you have here?
Yes. I have been making jewelry since I've been 5 years old. I'm not a trained jeweler, but I just have always loved making jewelry. I tend to use more recycled materials. These are hand-painted record album vinyl, which I paint, and they're two-sided, so you can switch them over. And my husband's an engineer, so I use the components he brings from work, and I create jewelry from that. And
so hold on a second. These are what? These look like they came from a computer.
they are circuit boards.
Circuit boards. Okay. Circuit boards, are these them too?
Yes.
I love how, so I do own a pair, full disclosure to everyone watching, I own a couple pairs of your earrings, and what I love about them is that they are two-sided, so you can wear them, you can wear one way or change the color and the other way.
You can flip them over, yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, be different.
Well,
Two for one.
Yes,
Two pairs
exactly.
for one.
2 pairs for one. So you don't this is not all of what you do for your artwork. So can you tell us a little bit more about your other art that you do?
I'm a trained painter, and so I've been painting for years. And so right now I'm doing sculptural paintings, which are constructions. And I'm doing these watercolors behind us over here.
This is new, these watercolors. Where did the inspiration come for those?
Well, I've always painted the unseen, microscopic, organisms, good and bad. I don't want to discriminate. So basically, these are all combinations of good organisms.
Oh.
Microscopic plants and water and...
So it's something that you would look at under a microscope. So do you look at them under a microscope?
I do.
You have a microscope here?
I do not.
Oh, where do you look at them from?
I look at them at home. I have and I photograph them, and then I use that as a reference point.
Excellent. That's pretty cool. I had no idea. So you said it's structural. Your other works that are here, how do you choose what kind of materials?
I use recycled wood scraps. That we have several carpenters in the building, and I get all of their scraps, and I use their scraps to make my pieces.
And what I also like about your studio here at Hat Street is you sometimes have live music. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I do have live bands. It's part of a grant. It's a collaboration with Scott Bishop and Sarah Donner, and I have the bands. I allow them to use my space for bands.
It's a great setting and atmosphere to listen to live music.
It's fun, right? We
Yes.
had a good time. We have a good time.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today. Michael Pietragala, thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you for coming.
I love being in your studio here at Hat Street and your fine furniture making skills that we get to see. And I don't think many people would have the experience of the process that you go through when you receive a commission. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, these pieces here that you're looking at, which are garden gates, they're like 95% finished, comes from rough wood. The idea came from the client's original idea, and I created a sketch and created this cardboard model, full scale, to show the customer. And she went ahead and approved all this, and then I went ahead and bought the material, and it's part of the process, and this is what we have when we're done.
Excellent.
A completed piece.
Now, these are very large pieces,
Yes.
but I know when I first walked into your studio, you have these beautiful, smaller utensils. So how does that come about?
Those pieces are made from wood that's actually left over. What do you do with the scraps? What do you do with the pieces that are cut off and so forth? Well, I started making spoons and wooden knives and, kitchen utensils, treasure boxes out of different exotic woods, and chopsticks, different types of chopsticks.
Beautiful.
And people seem to buy those, which is good also.
What do you love working on? Do you have favorite pieces? Does it matter?
I like tables. I like to make tables for people, and it seems like tables is the most functional thing that you could have in your home. So
Beautiful. Thank you for showing us.
thank you. My pleasure.
We are now here with Jim Jazurski and his fine woodworking skills here. Jim, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And
My
can you tell
pleasure.
us a little bit about the work that you've been doing?
Well, I do a variety of things. Right now, I'm repairing some antique windows for an old Lutheran church that's been turned into a condo up in Newton Highlands.
Wow.
But I also build furniture. One of the other pieces that I have on board is a chair that is the mock-up for the front joint of the chair is here, and there's pictures and layouts in the back. It is a very famous design by a wonderful craftsman up in Maine called by the name of Thomas Mosier. He does beautiful work, and I started out going to make one, then my wife decided she wanted two, and then my daughter just said she saw it and said, oh, you got to make me one. So then I said, well, if I make you one, I have to make one for my son, so now I'm making four.
Wow.
But they're all for the family members. I'm not selling. You have to be careful when you use people's designs that I'm not trying to commercialize off of Thomas
Right,
Mosier.
that's important to know.
I'll pick a project like this because it's challenging.
Yep.
And I have to figure it out, which is the part of this work that I love to do. So it's difficult to classify myself as a furniture maker or a cabinet maker. I've done all those, but I'm primarily a woodworker. Anything that's made out of wood is what I make.
And what about the table or the portion of the table that's right behind you? With the,
So
what project was that for?
So
the
this,
blue.
this was a project for a home in Mattapoisett, and they wanted a wet bar, and they wanted something dramatic. So I bought these logs from a local nursery, Giborn Knowles, took them to a sawyer in Rochester and had him turn them into planks. And then I joined it all together and made a big 9-foot wet bar that had a stream running down the middle of it. And when it came to the edge of the bar, the table and the stream cascaded off the end of the bar into a waterfall. The thing that I think I enjoy the most about this work is that I get the project, I spend a lot of time figuring out how to do it, and then I give it away, and I never see it again. Or, I'll have a photo of it, but it's in someone else's home, and they're enjoying it, and I love that. I just love that. It's out there, and so it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Perfect. Thank you so much for
You're
showing
welcome.
us that today.
Thanks for interviewing me.
All right. We are here with David Myers. David, thank you for being with us today. Can you tell the audience how do you describe the art that you do?
I would say it's wacky and weird art. I follow my gut and I trust my nose and I love what I do. For me in my art practice, humor is incredibly important. I don't think art needs to be about all the beautiful things in the world or what ails it, but it can be about a joke. It can be about beer. It can be running around into your underwear. There's a lot of possibilities.
Awesome, I love that. So we have some examples behind us. What is the story behind? I'd like to know about the neon that you use. You said maybe recycled materials.
Yep. So right over here is a great example. So I've got my neon piece over here, and this is done with LED neon, and this was inspired by the materiality of watching barbed wire in different urban settings, and then how the neon flows around it. And to me, I found it just very captivating. Art isn't to give answers; it's to ask questions.
I love that. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
What is the piece in here right now that you get the most comments about?
Oh, that's easy. That's the angels and dinosaur piece over there.
Okay, I can see why people have the biggest reaction to this. This is amazing. All right, talk me through it. What is going on here?
So there are a lot of levels to this piece. We've got angels and dinosaurs. The angels are on, they're Raphael's angels. They're on broken ceramic plates, which I sourced through the trash. We've got the dinosaur with the neon light going down to the keyhole. And you got the little dinosaur key right over here with this kind of tie-dye hippie aura going. And I see it as this wild creation, destruction mythology all wrapped up in one. It makes me happy, and I think that's good enough, and a lot of people are drawn to it.
Awesome. Thank you for showing us.
Of course. Thanks for coming here. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
We are here with Catherine Carter. Catherine, thank you so much for having us today.
You're welcome.
I would love for you to talk to the audience and tell them a little bit about the art and your background.
Sure. Well, we're standing in front of paintings of mine that are, they're made of paper that has acrylic paint on there, kind of poured, dripped, all kinds of different application techniques, and then torn and collaged. I also do fabric collage too. And I'm inspired by nature. I love to walk around the South Coast area. We have forests, we have beaches, we have, cranberry bogs. We have all kinds of beautiful natural landscape to look at. So those are the kinds of colors that really inspire me, either the water at the beach or these greens and browns and so forth, inspired by the forest. So that's kind of my inspiration. As far as academic, I have a master's degree in painting from UMass Dartmouth. That's kind of what brought me to this area from Boston, and I kind of never left. It's just so pretty here. So
how long have you had a studio here at Hatch Street?
At Hatch Street, it's been 2018, I believe, is when I first started to. I also have a school here. That's when I first started to teach classes and kind of painted on the side. And now I'm in this beautiful large space that's my own. So I both make my own artwork and teach as well. So both of those things.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your teaching.
Sure. Well, I have a school here. It's Catherine Carter Art School, and I have classes mostly Saturdays, but there are some after school events too, and it's for children 9 to 12 and teens 13 to 16, and we do all kinds of fun projects in there.
Okay, so here's some beautiful student artwork.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this all from one class, or is the exhibit from multiple different ages and classes?
The exhibit is from multiple ages. It's mostly, the last open studios we had it here at Hatch Street was 2019, sort of pre-COVID, and so some of this is slightly older work, but for the most part it's from 2022. There's a few older pieces, but mostly it's very recent. And it's from, let's see, the youngest student here is 10, and the older students are, like, say, 15 years old. So it's a range here.
In your classes, do you focus on a specific topic for each one, or do students get to explore whatever they want? How does it work?
Most of the projects are inspired by the seasons. Like say it's summertime, we'll do a beach scene, or it's around Halloween and we'll do a crow in a landscape or something like that. So it really depends on the seasons, but we use graphite, we use watercolor, we use colored pencils, there's some acrylic. It's a lot of mixed media. There's some collage as well.
And if anyone is interested in taking a class here, how would they find you?
They would find me on my website. Everything, the schedule is there, information about the school, testimonials from parents and students. It's CatherineCarterPainting.com.
Great.
Everything's on there.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
We are now here with Lori Bradley. Thank you so much, Lori. I am loving this space and these paintings of yours. Can you tell us your background and how you got to be painting these beautiful bird pieces?
I started painting about 10 years ago. I was in school at UMass Dartmouth for art ed, and I was doing mostly ceramics at the time, which I have here too. But I wanted to paint really badly because I'd done that before. So I just started doing birds because I love them. And somebody asked me to set up a show in downtown New Bedford. There was some open window space. And I decided to do a bird theme. So for that summer, I just sat and painted birds for that so we could have an installation that had a theme. And then I've been doing them ever since because I just really enjoy painting them and supporting the bird habitat and advocating for that. And I do prints of them too, and cards and other materials. So.
And you are working on a series right now of smaller,
Yeah.
these are
Yeah.
beautifully large, beautiful paintings, but tell us a little bit about the smaller series you're doing.
I'm having a show in the Berkshires at a little gallery called Art on Main in West Stockbridge. So that'll be over the holidays and over the New Year's. So I just want to do a bird-themed show and have some small accessible pieces I could put in the window to bring people in. This is almost finished. This is what it would look like when it's finished, with the blues and the greens and purples bringing in the detail, and then the highlights to get the sort of highlight side and the shadow side to make it look more rounded. I start the paintings, I coat the panel with white gesso, and then use this palette of kind of warm russet tones, and then do an underpainting with that, trying to do it really quickly, really loosely, just so I'm getting the highlights and the shadow side to get the roundness of the form and working in the form. And then I go back for the second layer after these dry overnight, and then add these cooler tones if I need it, and add more of the detail rather than working on the detail all in one shot, which I find is helpful.
It's helpful and it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you for having us today.
Oh, it's most appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode and meeting some of the artists at Hat Street Studios. There are a lot more artists who are here, so I encourage you to come and check out all of the wonderful art being made here in New Bedford. I want to thank New Bedford Cable Network for producing today's show, and I welcome everyone to check out more of our New Bedford Creative episodes. Until then, take care and see you soon.